All right, welcome everybody. Welcome to AM Dynasty, the podcast. Welcome everybody. Welcome to AM Dynasty, the podcast and the show. Appreciate having you here this time and every time. This is going to be a rare occurrence where we're going to be going live on the audio platform as well as the video platform. So definitely appreciate you joining us and appreciate having you here on 8M Dynasty, the podcast and the show. We got a special guest in here today. He's a Bay Area native, and well, he's been out in Bay Area for since almost black and white TV, and we're going to be talking about a subject matter that's actually kind of close and personal to me. If you're from the Oakland, San Francisco Bay Area, you should be aware of Glide Foundation and Cecil Williams and Janice Williams. For those of you not in the Bay Area and aware, Cecil Williams and Janice Williams, uh, I'm not sure how many years, decades ago, but created a foundation, a church that has really supported the community over the last 4 or 5 decades, and was really involved in the movement back in the 70s, and since then built an organization that's internationally known and well known in the Bay Area, where they provide a lot of services uh, for the less fortunate. And they have been all inclusive over the decades, providing services, food, shelter, and just all kinds of housing, employment for the less fortunate out here. Well, recently, this legend, this icon, Cecil Williams, passed away. He was, to the best of my understanding, he was 90 years old, and he built one heck of a legacy for people to try to build on with the Glide Foundation. And we attended the services, the memorial services, this past weekend. It was an honor and a pleasure for me to be there and attend to pay my respects for Cecil Williams and for the Glide family. And and so we're going to do a podcast and follow us. Don't forget to follow AM Dynasty on all of our social media platforms, including uh, our audio platforms on Spotify, Apple Radio, and just so many different audio platforms, as well as don't forget to follow us, like, share, subscribe to us on YouTube, Fanbase, Patreon, as well as several other streaming platforms. Today, we're joined by a guest who is actually older than me. He's actually is a activist who was extremely active back early on here in the 1970s, the movement, Panther movement, the Bay Area local political movement, which of course really did a lot to the Bay Area and San Francisco always been historically done a lot to shape and frame the narrative of this country and trying to cause positive changes. What they say what happens in California happens around the country, or the Bay Area, it would be considered the tip of the spear in those efforts. And our guest on here has been an integral part of that movement. He saw and ran with and assisted in some of the who's done a lot of these good work in the Bay Area in the past. And he's here to join us today. For now, we just call him Mister, and he can introduce himself. You there, Mister? Can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can.
All right, good, excellent, good to have you here. So, you and I were talking here over the last week or two since Cecil Williams passing, Cecil Williams of Glide Foundation, and I just wanted to kind of ask you what were some of your thoughts. I really brought you on here to kind of express to the viewers and listeners the impact of you having been around the Bay Area, specifically San Francisco, and a lot of the politics here on the ground level. I know you were, a lot of well-known national politicians who now, but they weren't national politicians back then when you were coming up. But I know you went to school with a lot of politicians, and you were very active back in the day. I remember you being on TV back in the day in the 1970s, kind of pushing for our people, black people, to gain strides here nationwide. What do you remember over the last 40 years, how Glide has gotten really big now? It's a San Francisco institution. What do you really remember as far as Cecil and Janice Williams building up this major legacy, this icon of an organization that they've built over this time? Keep in mind, some of our viewers and listeners they don't really know much about what's been going on, much about the intricacies of San Francisco Bay Area politics and the impact of Glide and the impact of this legendary icon, Cecil Williams. What do you recount? Give us some of your memories on the legend himself and the
Well, first,
organization.
I want to offer my condolences to the Cecil Williams family. Uh, I want to get that expression out there. But I've been knowing Cecil Williams for about 50 years now. We both came in the 70s. I came from Indiana, a school in Indiana, and Cecil Williams came from, I think he was incarcerated perhaps. But anyway, he was a very, very determined person. He was a very radical type person. He wanted to see things get done. I was sort of admired this guy. But he learned rather quickly in the Bay Area, you have to use a little bit of charm and smoothness to get things done. So he went from a hothead to a big player on the stage of the Bay Area in terms of getting things done. So that's the reason why I really cherish and miss him, because I used to volunteer. I used to get tickets for not having my light busted off old car that I was driving. I actually do my work there at Clap Memorial Church. First I thought it was just a hustle. Once I got there, I could feel the spirit. The spirit was, no, there's no hustle, man. People here, we're trying to get things done. So at that point, I began to really, I really rushed the fact that I was able to volunteer at that Memorial Church. And a couple of times over the years, I went down there and had lunch and Christmas dinner with them and whatnot. See where they're doing some great thing. Of course, in that time period, his reputation grew and grew and grew. And now it's just like legendary. Anybody knows Glad Memorial Church. They did a lot of great things for a lot of great people.
Speaking of that, you just actually just spoke on something that people may not be aware of nationally and internationally, but it just brought to my attention exactly when you said you went down there, you had a meal for one of the holidays. Exactly what is Glide Foundation that Cecil Williams and Dennis Williams has built? Exactly what do they do on the holidays? Do you do something annually for the holidays? What do they do on their holidays? You said you went down there and had a meal. What does that signify?
Well, yeah, I could drive by there. I could see people standing in line. That's a question, the proverbial question: why are people standing in line? And lo and behold, they're waiting to get some hot food cooked at Glad Memorial Church Foundation. And I began to say, wow, this guy's really doing something. I mean, that was just not just one year, that was every year. But he also fed them other meals. He's one of the big time players down there that really genuine. You like people of color, people that are trying to survive and whatnot. So he made a lot of services, like you said, jobs, volunteer work. I done volunteered down there a couple of times, like I told you before, and I found out that this was no joke. This was a real deal. Could feel the vibrations. This is something that he was doing that was for real. Like a lot of people. I know I had many connections with the African American Society and other black groups, and so we all refer to Cecil Williams as the man.
Mm,
He had many connections and so forth and so on. He can make things happen. So that's why I always remember him, because he made a lot of things happen, and he was genuine about doing that.
There was a lot of people down there at the memorial service that I saw yesterday. Some who I can't name and remember. I think it was Joan Baez was there. One of my personal favorite, especially as far as politicians is concerned, is Barbara Lee. I actually
Yeah.
live in her district, and a lot of people have a lot of good things to say. Renell from Old School cameo, and the legendary ex San Francisco Giants announcer and radio host out here, well known in the Bay Area, was here. And I will say so. Glide, as you were just saying, they actually feed the less fortunate. They feed the homeless and people who are, and once again, Glide Memorial Church and Cecil Williams was were featured in the well-known movie The Pursuit of Happiness with Will Smith and Will Smith's son. And by the way, the gentleman who was I forget his name. He was the actual real gentleman who that happened to in that movie. He actually was there at the services and he spoke at the services as well.
Oh,
So if you want to know who Cecil Williams is and a little bit about what Glide does, just look at that movie, The Pursuit of Happiness. Cecil Williams is the preacher who's preaching in that film, as well as he was the one that allowed Will Smith's movie character and Will Smith's son movie character to get food and shelter at that critical part of their life. And that's one of the things, that's only one of the things that's extremely significant of what Glide does, an example that it has set out here in the Bay Area over these decades. So Glide Memorial Foundation, the Glide Church, they feed. They have basically a daily, what's called the Daily Free Meals Program. It's called
yes.
the Daily Free Meals Program, and most people from the Bay Area, if you're from San Francisco, you definitely know about this, as well as the rest of the Bay Area. They've been doing it for decades, and they serve, if you can believe it or not, which is amazing, 3 meals a day, every
Yes.
day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, breakfast, lunch, and dinner, every single day of the year. And there may be a couple of days a year where they just do maybe a breakfast or a lunch, but there's, man, maybe if only maybe one day a year that they don't serve a meal. And I could be wrong about that because they do it every single day, rain, sleet, and snow, holidays, non-holidays, and usually for Thanksgiving and Christmas, they have a big bash. As far as they close down the street and they really make people who are, they say that during the holiday season is when most people who are in an unfortunate situation, or down, whether financially or just mentally, psychologically, that's when they commit suicide during the holidays. During the holidays is, I think, when most suicide victims commit suicide during the holidays. Either they're missing their family, or they don't really have financial resources, have gone through a lot of traumatic experiences. And Glide has been extremely instrumental in being like a family away from family, another family for people in that time, where they serve food and they have music going and provide, if anything, it kind of feeds you and pick up your spirits for a certain amount of time during that time of the year where people want to feel cared about, the holiday season. So Glide, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, thereabouts, they provide 3 meals a day, breakfast, lunch, and dinner for
And the
the.
major part is in the kitchen itself. I was surprised to see how clean it was.
That's absolutely correct.
Very, very, very clean.
That's absolutely correct. Well, the one thing that I've noticed about Glide, and which I respect what Cecil Williams and Janice Williams have built up, Glide is extremely thorough in hiring good people. So that goes into the second thing that I've observed that they do as well. And I know you know a lot more about this than me, is that they give, in meeting the Glide staff, they give one of the few, um, uh, I want to say, I guess, nonprofits, organizations that give like second chance opportunities to people who may have had um, less than great backgrounds, people who've had criminal backgrounds, people who probably went through all different kinds of abuse, family abuse, just abuse in society, people that's drug abuse. So they've actually, a lot of the staff, and I've met a lot of the staff. A lot of great people. I've met staff, multiple staff members that's like, you know what, man, I used to be out here, right here. And where's it's funny because where Glide is located, which is amazing, it's not in the rich area. It's not in the area where you would think it's not needed, where it's just rich people. It's in the heart, pretty much of the hood. It's exactly where it's needed most. The location is central to that where it's needed most in a community that really I can definitely vouch they definitely need um not pretty much assistance. You know what I mean? Not a handout, but a hand up. And so a lot of the people was like, hey man, I've been Glide's been around here, so we say since forever. It's been around here for so long. I've met so many people that's right there from that community that's been recovered, drug addicts, that's been previous felons involved with criminality and things of that nature. And then these people, you would never guess that that was their background because they have completely done a 180 thanks to the tone that Glide has said. You wouldn't know unless you were in a conversation with him, which I've had, and I was just so shocked. Multiple people, they hire people with those backgrounds, and a lot of people they take advantage of the second that chance that Glide's extended. So that's another thing that they do as well. Have you noticed that in your time?
I know one thing that I pride glad on. They were one of the first nonprofits to pay people a living wage.
And that's another thing right there. That's another thing. An organization that pay people, and we're talking literally in the heart of San Francisco, one of the most expensive places to live in California, if not the world. They pay people a living wage. They advocate that one thing. Another thing about Glide is they don't discriminate. They're all inclusive, no matter what your gender, sex, ethnicity, financial status. They're all inclusive. Any other type of bias that may be out there, they're all inclusive, and they pride themselves on that as far as being all inclusive, everybody's family, and they just really they give out that air about itself. They're extremely active in social justice. You know, recently here last year and heading into this year, California is finally moving towards giving reparations to Black people, and Glide has actually been instrumental in that from the standpoint of hosting meetings between. I think so. California itself is working on reparations. San Francisco is actually discussing. I'm not sure where they're at with it right now, with the mayor's office in the city, but I know that Glide has been instrumental in allowing talks between the community and representatives, specifically Secretary of State's office, talks between that office and the community as far as moving the dialogue forward. And so they're involved in things like just all kind of things, housing. They assist with offering housing, jobs, food, jobs, shelter. So it's just really legendary to what they've built up, what Cecil and Janice Williams and the Glide family has built up to this point. Is actually pretty awesome, pretty amazing. And like I said, everyone knows about Glide and its impact out here, and they've just done a lot of good. What kind of things can you think of that Glide has been a part of going back 40 years or so, as far as the kind of movements and efforts? What are some of your just some of the things that you recall, Mister, as far as
I know that Glad's been a vocal center for a lot of actions. They're opening these church to move for different countries. But out here, we're just giving section and so forth and so on. So a lot of people take those people. So that's what attracted me here in California. I saw that people were very advanced for their rights.
right,
I'm like, a lot of people just give up on it and say, well, that's how put up any kind of cost because it's going to be the same thing again and again. Cecil taught us to don't never accept no.
right,
Things can always change. Just keep walking on that road. guarantee tomorrow will be a better day. People that work with the volunteer procedure, I'm surprised that is church dwellings where people can assist outside the street people doing all kind of things, the see someone shoot one another, whatever. When they came inside the church here,
Right.
they become less serene, calm. Everybody try to get along, no matter what level you're on. I enjoyed sharing Christmas dinner with there was somebody like Cecil, a timeout situation. You can take showers, hot meals, and so forth and so on. Then they also provided as a civic center point. Yeah, a long time.
I totally agree with you. And that's another thing. You're absolutely. I agree with you wholeheartedly, 100%. It's funny because it's like a reverence around that place. People who they may be acting out in the streets or doing this or that, but everybody kind of gives that place kind of the ultimate respect whenever they get close to it, whenever they go to it. They show ultimate respect to the workers. Glide, they also give away. I've seen people go there and they're like, "Hey, man, like I need socks. I need a blanket." And I mean in the middle of wintertime. Once
Yes,
again, Glide hires excellent people. I don't know how they do it. I mean, they just have a knack for finding real humane people who and I guess they also hire real people. They hire real people that's gone through real circumstances but want to change their life for the better. So when
yes,
so they give an opportunity for those who want to give back and be a positive instrument to the community. They hire those people, and I guess that's what kind of makes it to where compassion, the compassion that they show when dealing with other people that's going through it. I've seen people come by ask for clothes, ask for blankets in the wintertime, ask for socks. If God has it, they give it to them. Another thing that they do is they have an after school program, or maybe that's not after school. It's actually like a daycare. So it's
yes,
for
yeah,
people who are, I guess, women or people who go to work during the daytime, and it's very expensive out here in California, guys. If you didn't know, and you're not in California, if you have a small child going to like after school or daycare programs, man, that's almost the price of an apartment probably down south or Midwest or somewhere out of it. Man, it is extremely expensive. You talk to parents, young parents, parents who have to pay for daycare. I guess that was even featured in that one movie, the Pursuit of Happiness. I don't know if they were at the Glide School. I don't. As a matter of fact, they weren't. But daycare is a for somebody that's especially single parents, but even if there's two-parent households, to afford daycare while we're living in a society today where both parents got to go to work. Most families can't. The cost of living is not the same like in our like in my grandparents' time, where one person, the father could go to work and the mother could stay home and raise the children. I don't know when it was like that in California, but it takes both parents to go to work, and that's just to be able to make a living wage. And so when you throw on the price of daycare nowadays, it's almost a backbreaker. They become the reason why a family can't really get ahead. So Got Glide actually provides those services for I'm not sure what it's called. It's called the Glide Family and Youth Care Center. It's the Glide Family, Youth, and Care Center.
but also offers leadership training for people that want to be maximize their career, whatever. Some of the volunteers they be using,
Yeah.
they were able to get that car to land up inside Bible church for their Christmas dinner, whatever. They may be acting up, but the volunteers they handle every situation there smoothly, non-violently. People respect that. People say cut the line. People say no, you can't do that. Get the end of the line. You're a good sir. Just get the end of the line.
Right.
See, they use a nonviolent resolution training.
Right.
Like to
Absolutely.
teach their volunteers how to handle a ziggy situation that's going on.
Right.
People cut the line, people try to bug other older people and
Right.
so forth. Yeah.
Right.
So they have years, people watching the line, make sure everybody get their meal on time, some kind of way. And then when you get inside there, the place is so clean. And them sisters that you volunteer inside there, it could be good. Believe me, I look good.
Mhm.
Smell good. I look good.
Mhm.
I enjoy myself. I got a place to go every year now. I ask for a place to go.
Absolutely. Well,
That's how good it is.
I noticed one thing they treat people like people. Their emphasis is heavily on you know, calling the guests and make sure they said, hey, what I was told, each meal would be basically each meal would probably be the only time throughout the day where a person can kind of get a respite from whatever stuff they're going through in their life. It could be the only time of the day where they can really feel like a human and feel like they could get respect that a human being deserves. And that's just something to keep in mind as far as the impact of this place. And I'll tell you, like when I went to the ceremony, it was packed. And I mean, it was so packed they had to have the whole street blocked off outside with chairs. And that's where I was sitting. And the thing that was interesting, I was sitting next to a lady and heard people saying, and one lady turned around and said, you know what? She was like, I think she was listening to whoever was talking on the screen. She was like, oh, that's such and such. He's like, yeah, I haven't been here in a long time, but she was basically expressing how Glide helped her get clean. She's like, I've been clean for this many years. And when the lady said that, I was looking like I would have never guessed that. This lady looks, you know what I mean? Like she was, you would have never guessed. So like she
Right.
got all her stuff together. She's like, hey, I'm out of here for respect. Like she was just saying it like, hey, I'm in here. I haven't seen this place in years. I haven't seen that person for many, many years since I was a client here recovering. I was like, whoa, but that's not an amazing case. You see that, hear that all the time from some of the staff to some of and a lot of the people who are there. Uh, you guys just receive services or to volunteer. That's which is leads me to another thing that they do. They get a lot of volunteer staff every day um, to assist with serving the meals to the clients, as well as I'm not sure all of the volunteer services that they get, but they get a lot of volunteers in and around the city. One time I met some people there that actually came to Glide that weren't where they I think they well I've met people there at Glide that came from Texas and from around the country, groups of people. I think I met some people, young people, and I'm looking like, what? Hold on, where you guys coming from? Oh, we're coming from like Maine or somewhere. I met people there that came there internationally. I think last year, Glide's staff, from what I hear, went to like Alabama to like the civil rights. I think it was either the Civil Rights Museum or Memorial or something like that.
Right.
They do a lot of things that's actually. It would be surprising if I weren't familiar how Glide operates. And I think to anybody, that's why we're doing this podcast presentation out of respect to bring more awareness to what they have built and what they're doing now and where they're taking this organization in the future, which I think is very positive. But they do a lot of things that would actually surprise you if you're not too familiar.
I actually do volunteer for the homeless advocacy program called HAP, and also I was also a counselor for under Judge Daniel Weinstein, juvenile court. And what we should do, sometimes we get these cases, we refer them to Glad Memorial, the volunteers, like see to the their property. Most kids go there, most adults go there, it's a hustle. People are there to kill your ass. Black changing situations that go on there. Sometimes people come back and report back and say, well, I thought it was going to be a hustle, but school department, the Judge Daniel Weinstein, we refer to people who did the bills volunteer, drugs or whatever that is. Still going to high school when that the city.
Wow.
So many kind of factions. Give people a second chance. That's the thing I love about Glide. People got a chance to get a second chance a lot of times if you want to. You do the actual with everything.
No, I love
So
that. I love
that's
that.
the thing with that.
I didn't know they did that. See, that's a new one on me. I didn't know, like you say, it's too many things to name what that glide does. I didn't even know that right
Yeah,
there, but I'm not shocked.
yeah.
And see, that just goes to show how far back I guess you go with glide as far as your advocacy to humanity, basically, and forwarding.
First, we learned to use all the black resources in the community. 30 years along that line.
Well
Because there was
said.
always hope there, and that's all they said about God. I think I know you are. It was to me. Like I've said, like I said before, I was just a hustle. This is the real deal. The real deal only feel. I can respect that. That's why I say Cecil was one of the few men in the Bay Area that I can really respect from top to bottom. That he was about it. The real deal Holyfield. Him and his wife both.
Well said. Well said. And
Let it happen.
well said. Well said. I would definitely say Glide does accept donations. As a matter of fact, I think they're ran primarily off of donations.
Yes.
So I would definitely advocate for anybody. I would advocate for them for anybody to um, donate to the Glide Foundation family for the work that they do. If you are able to donate your financial resources, your time, or your efforts to help such a classy, first class organization that's actually out here doing good in the community, and they have the resume to prove it. So it's not a fly by night, brand new organization. They have their resume to prove it, and the resume is the people. So I would definitely advocate for Glide to uh, get your donation in whatever form you can you can give, whether it be financially, your time, your services. Um, they get clothes and like blankets and socks. They get all kinds of donations. Um,
They also accept food too.
and they accept food as well. They accept food as well. I would imagine. I don't know about that, but I'm sure that they do. It's a nonprofit organization. I'm pretty sure. So I would just definitely advocate for anybody to to go research for Glide, to give them a donation when and where you can. Um, and I would just totally advocate for them. From the vendors to the employees to the community, they are all inclusive. They are all inclusive. They don't discriminate for regardless of um, what part of life that you're coming from, whether for whatever. They just like
Right.
if you're positive, they're gonna match your energy. And like you said, I can only respect it. I mean, what more could you ask for? Especially once again, hey, we're in a society where it's extremely expensive here. There's lots of people that go through a lot of different things. There's lots of carnage to um, a situation where there's lots of infested with drugs, infested with high cost of living, uh, incarceration, and a bunch of other different things going on. So, mental illness. So there's it's good to know that there's some a gathering place for forward-thinking people and positive people and people that actually want to contribute in a positive way to kind of like assist some of the ills in society and our home, you know what I mean, which is the Bay Area. And that's the organization that Cecil and Janice Williams started out. So it was definitely an honor and a pleasure to go there and show my respect and support for the whole Glide family and, you know, honor Cecil Williams' life and his wife, who passed away not too long ago, I think a year or two ago, Janet.
Right.
So, um, it was definitely somewhere where I had to be. And this is right here. This podcast presentation is something that I have to do. I have to do for me. You know what I mean? To show my respect. So, it's definitely my pleasure and an honor to do exactly that. I wanted to bring you on, Mister, because I know you go back and you have been involved with your contribution over the last 40, 50 years in trying to make a better change for pretty much
Well,
society.
thank you for inviting me. I appreciate it.
Absolutely, absolutely. So with that, like I said, guys, we won't be too long, but we definitely wanted to be strong in our support for Cecil Williams. His memorial was this past weekend. It's passing the memorial celebration, which was an absolute success. It had just I'm sure national, international, local, the who's who of who the who's who was there. It was awesome to see all those people speak up. Willie Brown spoke. What I'm saying, Mayor Willie Brown. He spoke. He was
Yeah.
there. Affectionately known as the mayor, the previous mayor of San Francisco, the current mayor um, of San Francisco was there speaking. It was just the who's who of the who's who was there to pay respect for this awesome, legendary figure in his life celebration, and to show respect for what he's built, which is the Glide family that's still moving along and pushing this organization even further in a positive direction. So you know, kudos to him, kudos to them, and we still look forward to continued greatness in the future. And as we stand on the shoulders of giants and trying to do some positive things for Bay Area life, for humanity in general, for the city of San Francisco, and just the whole damn Bay Area. So with that, thanks, Mister, for joining us. Anything you want to say in closing before we get out of here on this
Yeah.
Dynasty production?
Yes, I want to say thank you for having me again. And the second thing I want to say is your Glad Memorial Foundation. Yes, keep on doing what you're doing.
Love you always. Hey guys, if and when you can, go check out Glide Memorial in San Francisco's website, or try to connect with them personally. See if you can contribute a love donation of your time, of your financial resources. I'm pretty sure all donations are will be well received. Once again, we just spoke on all the many types, forms of donations that I'm sure they accept. Just contact them directly and see how you can contribute to a good cause as well. And, be a part of positivity and the movement. So, with that, we appreciate you for joining another AM Dynasty, the podcast and program here, streaming live on YouTube, fan base, Patreon, and the audio podcast on several streaming podcasts near you. So thanks again for joining us. Much respect to the Glide family. Much respect to Cecil and Janice Williams. And, we lost the legendary person. So thanks again for joining us. We'll see you on the Milk Show. Thanks a lot, family.
nemesis.